They're not critics, they're not scholars, they're just two dudes who've watched way too many weird movies. This is Cinemawreck with your hosts, Jeff and Chad. Viewer discretion heavily advised.
Oh,
Um,
this is the inaugural Cinemawreck.
yeah, you're here. This is Cinemawreck.
Cinemawreck.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
this is shit. I should have wrote a script for this. I feel like this podcast is going to be the video aisle for those that don't remember video stores. That it's
right.
this kind of like the backdrop. This is the video aisle hanging out, talking about all the shit that's on the shelf and like what have you seen, what you haven't seen.
Absolutely.
And I think it's like why even do this? It's because like I think we're not pompous. We don't have egos about anything. Like we're
Yeah.
not just like yeah about
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, totally. And I realize that, you know, throw a rock and you'll hit somebody with a movie podcast and
Oh yeah,
and 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 there are plenty of more established, more famous people that are doing them as well. But we're not trying to bite on anybody's style. We're just two people who are just going to talk about movies that we like and
yeah,
and approach it in a sincere fashion and not a mocking fashion. I mean, there are elements of comedy in a lot of this stuff, both intentional and unintentional. But we're here to lovingly uh, kind of reminisce and break down and maybe be a little informative to those who might not be exposed to some of the stuff that we grew up on.
yeah. I mean, it's a bit nostalgic, but it's also just sort of kind of like grab a beer and hang out and shoot the shit about movies. It's which isn't
Totally.
anything new, obviously, but you know, we're doing this for us, and we hope you like it.
Yeah, just two guys shooting the shit about movies. That's about the best description we can come up with, man. And
And and I think that we've sort of gone down so many weird rabbit holes over the years that there's nuggets in there of weirdness and things that you've probably not heard of, and hopefully will, kind of bring to light some stuff that you've never even heard of or seen. So I think obscurity is a big thing here. So tonight we're going to be talking about the canons, the Ninja Trilogy, which is, not terribly obscure, but I was being kind of shocked that I've talked to a lot of people that have never even heard of it, but just normal people, obviously, not us, not weirdos, but like
or people who are our age and they forgot about it.
that's
They're
true.
just
Yeah.
like they haven't seen it since they were in elementary school when the ninja craze was happening.
Yeah, and that
So
that goes back to the nostalgia thing and just sort of tapping the brakes and not just like
yeah.
focusing like everybody does on whatever the new thing is. And the onslaught of media that we've had just in the last like 15, 20 years has sort of swallowed up any sort of nostalgic appeal for a lot of these B movies and just things that straight to video stuff that didn't really pop out too much at its time that is
Mhm.
worth revisiting.
Completely, man. A lot of this stuff we saw growing up in the Dallas area at the Redbird theaters,
I think that's
The
a
UA
good.
Cine.
Oh my God. I think that's a really good thing to kind of bring up is just our kind of our geographic background. So Jeff and I'm Chad, that's Jeff. And
I'm Jeff. He's Chad.
we just grew up we grew up in Texas, and so he's in LA now and I'm in Colorado. But we kind of cut our teeth on the video store aisle. I don't know about that, but like
No, completely. Yeah. Chad and I kind of came to yeah, we became friends over movies,
you worked at the video
and I
store.
worked at a video store in high school, and so I was his connection for a lot of good screeners and stuff
Oh my God.
that would come through before. I thought I was my tastes. I thought were a little more highbrow, or at least I thought I was because I was kind of pretentious
Just drink
uh,
from my
at,
aquarium. Sorry.
at that age. Yeah, that's don't swallow a goldfish. But yeah, it's Chad was more into the a lot of fun stuff and a lot of the full moon straight to video stuff that I would have, because I wasn't really into a lot of the like horror or maybe sci-fi horror stuff like that, especially direct to video. I think I kind of like
Yeah.
dismiss that as as cheap and not worth my time. But Chad opened my eyes to a lot of the all
I
the was it Stuart Band and
oh yeah,
um,
Charles. I did live in the horror.
Charles Band, yeah,
I did live in the
and Full
horror aisle
Moon,
for the most part, you know,
yeah,
and we could save this for another with some of the stuff that was
right.
at your store. But I recall specifically, which it will be relevant to this podcast later, a screener for Hardboiled when it first came
Mm.
into the US,
Oh yeah,
which is amazing. But we're talking ninjas, so and
we
uh,
digress. Yes.
your video store also had the most impressive kung fu collection I'd ever seen.
Oh, incredible! Like some of the most obscure stuff. Like not even it wasn't even Shaw Brothers. It was
Now,
like below that, but yeah, but just nuts. I mean, it was. I'm pretty sure it would have been considered like subpar, even by Chinese viewers' standards at
for
that
sure.
time. But
Some of
it
those
was
sleeves weren't even like properly printed. They were just
no,
they looked like sun-faded Xerox copies that came that way,
right.
which is
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. There was some other stuff like that. There's some black exploitation movies like that too,
Oh yeah.
that were just like, what is going? This movie doesn't even feel like it's completed
Real.
or real. Yeah, it was just thrown together from other movies and other clippings of other movies in an editing room somewhere somewhere in Hollywood or something, man. But yeah, it was yeah, those were good times, man. So VHS, well, those were like tapes
Yeah, oh yeah.
for those who might be uninitiated, and you had to rewind them if you wanted to watch them again. So
Actually,
uh,
the VHS collecting is sort of a, I won't say hipster thing, but
right, it's coming back. Right now, we're going to jump into the Ninja trilogy.
all that to set the tone in terms of timelines and to put you square in early 1980s when ninjas were all the craze because of the movies we're about to talk about, really. And
Yes.
you would go to flea markets and everything would be throwing stars, nunchucks,
I
swords,
forgot about
just wall to wall ninja uh, baubles. I don't know what you'd call
yeah.
it. Uh,
Yeah,
it was
you
extremely
had that
prevalent.
yeah, you had that dangerous kid that would bring a Chinese star to school, man.
We were making them out of paper, which
Yeah.
is
Oh, yeah,
really
yeah.
going to date us here, but it was you cannot overemphasize the craze that was Ninja. And from that came, characters in G.I. Joe, Ninja
Hmm.
Turtles, Ninja everything. It was all Ninja, just so much Ninja. Not just here, but because of the popularity that came out of like we were talking about with the Ninja trilogy, uh, the Hong Kong and Chinese films also were kind of getting into it and creating bootlegs of everything as they often do. It wasn't even Japanese cinema, which ninjas are Japanese. And
Hmm.
Chinese were like making just tons and tons of this stuff. So yeah, just to when you go back and you see these, if you weren't around for the original era, it's sort of confusing as to see why this sort of seemingly cheesy sort of motif and just the idea of ninja, even the word kind of has this sort of connotation of cheesy to it nowadays because of all the schlock that got sort of produced in this era. But at the time when these were created, like it was
There was
new,
nothing
it was
cooler, man.
wild.
There was nothing cooler. The crazy assortment of weapons, uh, and the stealthiness, the mystery surrounding the Ninja Warriors and the kind of the mythology and the mysticism that these three movies uh, helped to fortify as far as like what just made ninjas cool
Yeah.
and and it was a direct uh, it seemed like there's a direct through line through Shaw and well, samurai movies, Chinese, Cantonese, Hong Kong, uh, Kung Fu cinema, as far as like the Shaw Brothers stuff in the 70s. Uh, and then it segued into this with the ninja movies. And the Ninja Trilogy is not the only one. There were several other
Oh yeah.
movies that came out. I mean, you had American Ninjas, I think I think they made three of those. And Sho Kosugi, who shows up in all three of these movies, was also in a couple of others that were not produced by Canon. They were after he finished these movies, like Pray for Death and
Was Pray for
couple.
Death was canon though, wasn't it? Or no?
I don't think it is actually. You know what? You might be right, but
Because
it's
I knew
not.
that they had the
Let me check.
contractual issues between him and Canon, and
Well, I
so
just
he was pretty much done with them. But I think he came back for one more, which was Pray for Death.
no, it's Transworld.
Transworld. Okay.
Yep.
Oh well, I was wrong.
Right.
What's funny
Uh,
too is the parallels you see with kind of modern sort of Sentai Japanese cinema with Power Rangers, Sentai Rangers,
yeah.
Tokusatsu films, etc. Uh, ninjas were sort of the OG of the Tokusatsu, but in terms of multicolored ninja outfits for different factions and whatnot. So, but what's funny is talking about the original Enter the Ninja 1981 is it's really sort of a Western.
Big time. The whole structure of it is a Western structure where Franco Nero, who's playing the main guy, the ninja, only because it was originally supposed to be Elvis's karate instructor.
Yeah, that's such a
Um,
that's such a good like blurb.
I'm sorry, Mike Stone, Elvis's karate instructor, was originally supposed to be in that role, and he couldn't act, so they got Franco Nero. And
Elvis's karate instructor couldn't act?
I know, go
But yeah, you
mind
know, it was a
blown.
total Western with like the whole land grab and like,
Yeah,
you sort of open up on the weirdest sort of training mission of, Franco Nero in a white ninja outfit with a mustache that's protruding out of his mask. So pretty much you can
the
immediately tell it's him.
mustache. Oh my God, yeah,
And then
amazing.
this elaborate sort of prologue happens, and then we just sort of all of a sudden thrust into the middle of Manila for some reason. He got a note and decided to go out. It was it just made didn't make a ton of sense, but one of the common themes that I've sort of noticed as I was watching this whole trilogy was whenever I had a question, the answer in my head was always because ninjas.
Right. That's all don't.
It's it's because of ninjas.
Well, and I think the Manila setting was probably out of convenience and to bring it in under budget because a lot of action productions were being filmed in the Philippines
Yeah.
in the 70s and 80s. There was like a direct pipeline for film production, especially uh, action movies there in the Philippines. So
Yeah.
that might have been a reason. But yeah, it was just like okay, but yeah, like you just said, there was the structure of that movie is definitely uh, pulled from westerns.
It's headlined by a spaghetti Western icon. So it was really, at its
Right,
heart, a
totally.
spaghetti Western that they just swapped for like an Asian sort of, motif to kind of push this whole sort of ninja aesthetic. But it had all of the elements in terms of just kind of those weird grindhouse elements of someone with a hook on their hand,
Hmm.
a little bit of gore and violence for the era. And it wasn't quite as grindhousey to me as the second one, but it still had a little bit of that vibe and flavor to it. Like we were talking about,
Yeah.
there's a moment where, there's one of the villains has a hook on his hand and he gets his hook pulled off, and there's a little bit of like neon red sort of blood from having the hook pulled off, and it's like,
A little meat and maybe some
yeah,
tendon there too.
nobody grows the hook, into their hand. But you know, that those little sort of tropes are really fun to kind of see within it.
The scene with when that guy gets his hook ripped off was, yeah, it was kind of jarring. And then like and then to have it kind of played up to, oh, he just ripped his hook hand off, and there's a little bit of gore, and they play, wah wah. Yeah,
And for
but
being 19, a lot of movies I've noticed, you know, there's a good like 6 year each side grace period where, you know, it was filmed in 1981, but it looked and it was, you know, it looks like it
like
was filmed in 19.
1971.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that one, like, yeah, that one came right off the assembly line, right out of the editing room, dated, or the lab. Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, I don't want to jump the gun here, but yeah, the quality of them does progress, and
I think all of
yeah,
Cannon's lineup does that, honestly.
yeah, yeah, it does, it does. Well, they started making more money, and they started spending. Some people might not agree with me, but I think they were notoriously cheap. But yeah, their budgets did get a little bit better, and they started spending a little bit more money.
And I
Um,
wonder too, because yeah, they're known for like being cheap,
right,
essentially. But you know, what I've seen is the ambition in them. Uh,
totally,
that there's this connective tissue of ambition throughout the whole sort of most of their catalog. And I'm
right.
just wondering, was that something where they were just kind of handpicking the right directors and producers that were a little more hungry and kind of wanted to kind of show off their craft so they actually had more care in what they were doing despite the budgets? You know, I don't know. It was just something that I've noticed across the portfolio of Canon, and especially in the Ninja trilogy when we get into two and especially three, they're very ambitious.
But yeah, yeah, and especially three. The quality of them does get a lot better. Uh, I think one has its moments. It has, I think it has my favorite bad guy in it. Well, no, I take that back. He's a very interesting bad guy. He's got he's got this crazy office with a giant swimming pool, and his all of his lackeys and henchmen are at desks. They all wear these white suits, and he's got like these bathing beauties in the pool that are lounging. And I didn't catch it the first time for whatever reason. I think I picked up on it as he was, along with being this merciless land baron. He was also choreographing like this water review with all these women. But no, they were an installation piece. They were an installation art piece. He refers to them as his living mobile. So
And
it's that
not
guy was
just
cool.
that, but it's sort of kind of goes into a little bit of the weirdness throughout the whole film, which is these sort of unexplained uh, pieces of the background of the canvas that are there for aesthetic, but are never really explained too heavy-handedly.
Yeah,
And that's one of them where they're just really a set piece in the scenes, which is exactly what they were there for. And he says it in the film, which is very interesting in that
yeah,
they're just there as eye candy, and he keeps them around. You know,
yeah.
and then, you know, like my mind just sort of goes off in terms of, is he flying? They're not all from Manila. Like, where are all these women coming from for
It's
his swimming pool that he keeps going all the time when all of his henchmen come and tell him bad news? And then again, I'm just like, my mantra through the whole thing is like, shut up, it's ninja.
just roll with it. Yeah. And also Walter Brennan, that's the old actor I was trying to think of. The guy who runs the little general store in town. His name's Dollars, and
Yes.
he's got he's got his old army military fatigues on, and he's got introduced by opening up his coat, and like one side got a bunch of crucifixes, and the other side has a bunch of nude cheesecake pictures.
I mean,
Uh,
you can see where, like, I mean, that's if you didn't have the visuals to go along with it, you would think you're describing some like quirky character and like a you know a modern video game of like
Yeah,
Red Dead Redemption or something. But like, it's sort of that was one of the things, especially with Grindhouse and some of these era films, is there was always these weird hooks thrown in, no pun intended, of the weird characters, weird out of place things, just to make it strange enough that you would talk about it and kind of want to see it. And
yeah,
this definitely, I think this applies for the whole trilogy, really, and most of Canon's catalog.
completely. And it also comes down to, well, what do we have to lose?
Right.
Yeah, let's just put that in there,
And
or
it
that
feels
guy.
like the elevator pitch when they're showing the poster and they're just like, we're gonna have ninjas, we're gonna have Sho Kazugi's already agreed. We're gonna have a guy with a hook hand, we're gonna have Franco Nero, and we're gonna have ninjas. And then, somewhere in the production, the the Baptist church who's paying for a portion of it is like, where's the guy with the hook on his
Yeah,
hand? And they're like,
yeah.
oh shit, we gotta put the
Where's
guy with
my
the hook on his hand.
where's my? It's like Ed Wood, or
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
with
thinking
G.D.
of.
Spradlin he wants his nephew in it or whatever.
But yeah,
Yeah,
the whole film really is, like we were talking about, is really just kind of a Western with this Western ninja who's been training in Japan, who gets a letter from his old friend about some evil corporation sort of moving in on his or mobster moving in on his piece of land that he's doing something on. I don't know if they ever really fully explain that. They've got a lot of employees, and his wife's very passionate about whatever it is they're doing.
I think they're growing some sort of crops, and the guy who's trying to get the land uh, knows that there's oil there.
Yeah.
The brief mention, they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, there's oil there. Okay, well
Yeah.
that's what I wanted.
And
Yeah,
if you blink, you miss that. And
right.
and so the majority of the film is just this nemesis who wants his land, being frustrated by the landowner's ninja friend being Franco Nero. Cole comes into town and just messes all his plans up
Cleans
all the way
house,
to the end.
and then they call in his former classmate from his ninja finishing academy, played by Sho Kosugi, who was already upset with his admittance into their clan because he's a gaijin, and
Yep.
so he's yeah. So now he comes in, cleans up, kills his buddy. Oh, spoiler alert! Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Are we also going to talk about the favor that he did for his
Oh
friend?
yes. I think
The
that's
weird,
really sort of one of those tentpole
what?
moments throughout. Each film has its moment
Right.
that sort of stands out, and I
Like,
think
what the fuck?
that's the one for Enter the Ninja.
Yeah. And the way it was shot, uh, like, so they're having that heart to heart or whatever at the bar, and he's telling him, "Yeah, I love her, but I can't get it up anymore." And so he's telling him he's got a free pass, but not really telling him he's got a free pass, and it cuts away to the bedroom, and he's just kind of sitting there like, well, I guess I got to do what I got to do.
It's
Cut,
so it's
cut,
so
cut away
awkward.
from, cut away from that to the next day, where they've slept together, and his buddy is ravenously eating something out of this bowl, which to me looked like old guacamole.
Oh
It
God.
was one of the most disgusting scenes of eating I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, he's rejuvenated because they went out and kicked some ass, and then his buddy slept with his wife because he can't fulfill her sexually or whatever. It's
And
just
he had the
yeah,
best night ever
yeah,
knowing that.
yeah, exactly. I
Totally
started to think
refreshed.
on my second viewing, I was like, wait a minute, is this like a Tyler Durden type of situation? Maybe Franco Nero doesn't exist.
Oh wow.
So
I
this
think
is all manifestation of
you just broke a whole new angle on. We're gonna revisit that in the subsequent films,
yeah,
but for this one, I think you might have just touched on something that it's not even on Reddit.
right. Yeah. Somebody, yeah, I think the whole dual identity might be applied to a lot of things after Fight Club. I think a lot of people have, oh, well, maybe they're the same person, but I don't know.
And then you
Yeah,
throw a
it's
ninja costume on them, and it's of course, and they're disappearing and they're throwing smoke bombs. Like,
right.
am I alive? Am I a ghost?
Oh, and it also, I didn't realize. I think we already talked about this off camera or whatever, but I didn't realize that that famous death scene that shows up in compilations and memes is from that movie. I had no idea. Where he's just like, oh, it's a great shot. And
It's
how did?
almost Bill Shatner level.
Oh, totally, man. And that guy's I don't know too much about that guy, but apparently he was a popular working television actor.
I was gonna say he has a soap opera look about him.
Yeah, he got a lot of work on TV, so he was
Guaranteed he's
one
at least in one episode of Love Boat, because most people were. But I guarantee
probably.
you, if we dug deep enough, he's on Love Boat.
I think Franco Nero might have ended up on an episode of Love Boat.
Probably. My God.
But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but
so obviously the ninja has to the so none of the three films obviously are related other than the fact that they're ninjas, and like you were saying, Shokasugi's in all of them, and the line only a ninja can kill a ninja is in all three.
right,
Um,
totally.
they all boil down to only a ninja can kill a ninja. So obviously in Enter the Ninja, the finale is such that that happens. And I think you can guess who sort of wins the fight on that one, thus concluding the Enter the Ninja.
And it ends with our main character winking at the camera.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's uh out of the three, my least favorite, but still good.
Yeah. But I was
But
enjoying it enough that once finished, I went straight into Revenge of the Ninja, like straight away.
yeah, I did mine backwards.
Oh, you're right. I
Uh,
watched three first as
I
well. Yeah.
went domination, then revenge. No, I went no, I went completely out of order. I went domination, enter, then revenge.
Okay.
So
I did the same.
yeah.
I did
But
the
yeah,
same.
it's
Much.
yeah, it was and also I don't know if we mentioned that that one was directed by Menahem Golan of of Golan Globus. So
What else
that
has he
was one.
done, or did he do?
He did well he directed a lot of movies in Israel before he uh came to the States and formed Canon. But he directed okay, so he directed The Apple, which is considered one of the worst movies musicals ever made. It was this crazy musical that came out in I guess it was trying to capitalize on the Rocky Horror cult phase or
Yeah.
craze, and but he directed that and uh, a handful of other movies before he went into just straight producing. But yeah, he had a pretty lengthy career in Israel before he came to the States.
Did he
So
direct? He didn't direct Revenge of the Ninja though.
no, that was so Revenge of the Ninja and Ninja 3: The Domination were directed by this guy named Sam Furstenberg, and he was he also an Israeli filmmaker that was kind of a staple in the canon and the canon stable of directors. I think he also I think he directed both the Breakin' movies too,
Oh wow.
Breakin' Breakin' and Breakin' 2. I think he might have directed the American Ninja movies as well.
Oh
But
wow. Okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah, the quality and also Shokasugi took over as fight coordinator for those two movies too. So that's another reason why the because I think what's his name, Steve. Why am I going blank here? I'm sorry. Let me consult my notebook real quick. Elvis's karate instructor,
Yeah.
not Steve. Mike Stone. I believe he was the fight. He was the fight coordinator for Enter the Ninja, and then Kosugi took over for the next two movies.
Oh,
But
nice.
but yeah, Mike Stone, karate instructor to Elvis. Before that, he was like Phil Spector's bodyguard. and he
Oh
was just
well.
kind of like karate instructor to the stars. And as we mentioned before, he was supposed to be the original lead, and he the studio uh the financiers, they said, no man, this guy can't act. So that's
At
when they
least they
called
didn't.
Franco Nero.
At least they didn't put him in and just dub him with some like really horrible voice. Um,
Which, by the way, the dubbing on Franco Nero is like seamless. It's some
yeah,
of the best like it's some of the best dubbing I've ever seen in a movie. It was actually really well done. I was pretty impressed with it. But
and like I
yeah,
was saying, I jumped right into Revenge of the Ninja, which then sort of has a similar structure to it. Opens up with a similar sort of thing, except in this case, in Revenge of the Ninja, the carnage at the beginning is actually real, and takes place back in Japan, and then we cut away to I can't remember where they said that it takes place, but it was clearly like it was shot in
it's
like
supposed
Utah.
it, it's supposed to be Los Angeles, but they're like in Salt Lake City. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there's I don't think there's a frame of that movie that was shot in Los Angeles. But yeah, it opened, and there's a really good documentary about Canon Films called Electric Boogaloo, and I think they mentioned something about how they went back and filmed that intro. That intro was never in the original script, and apparently the script of Revenge of the Ninja was so just cobbled together that it didn't really make any sense. And I guess there was no motivation for revenge, and so that's why they had to
Hey,
tack that on. Like, well, we need to give him some some reason to seek vengeance. But
they were hanging it
yeah,
all on when they killed his mom towards the end.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. That's one
way
of the
past
that
revenge at that point.
that yeah, this one is really really good in my
It's a straight up
it's
action movie
yeah, and
with
it's pretty
good
it's pretty
set
real
pieces.
and pretty relentless. It's pretty nonstop, man. It
Yeah,
goes from one to the next with a little bit of exposition in between. Also has a great villain. This guy's
very.
got with his steel Destro looking demon mask.
It's
Uh,
borderline slasher
yeah.
monster character.
Oh yeah. And the kills are this we're starting to get into more slasher type kills. That opening is brutal, man. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
we're talking throat slashed, kid gets a shuriken to the eye, to the forehead.
Yeah.
It's just like, good God, man.
It's definitely the most violent of the three, which I think is why it's the most popular.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a
And
great
it's well done,
and
obviously.
Kasugi has that great move where he catches three arrows, one in his mouth, and then proceeds to stab
And that's a good point because like
the
this
guy.
one is the Sho Kosugi show. Like
Oh yeah,
the whole film is
yeah,
really him. And he's the highlight of the whole thing, which is another reason why it's probably considered the best of the three.
yeah,
His son's in it, who's also incredible and does some stunts and fights with kids. That's like, I mean,
yeah.
I don't even think you could get away with filming it now.
No, you couldn't. Yeah, that opening scene where they're in LA and he gets accosted by those wayward youths and kicks their ass.
Yeah,
That was great.
but
And then gets admonished by his dad that he's not supposed to use his knowledge of martial arts
yeah, as always is
for
the
that.
case.
Yeah, it's like it's a
Learn it, but don't use it.
yeah, yeah. But if some fools are trying to test you, man, you got to do something.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
So
it's really good.
it opens up with this sort of montage, of a horrible kind of brutal slaughtering of tons of people, and Sho Kosugi is talking to his friend who's encouraging him to come back to the States.
Yeah,
And just to kind of jump ahead, you don't have to work too hard to realize he's going to be a bad guy because his mom kind of calls it right at the beginning.
right.
But it's got a kind of, in terms of the grindhouse thing going on with it, basically the villain is using Asian dolls to smuggle heroin into the
Yep.
U.S. Shokasugi's character has no idea of this and thinks that it's all on the level. Um, until his son accidentally cracks one of them open.
Breaks one open.
Yeah. The whole time I was thinking how great it would have been to see a crossover of uh like Puppet Master demonic toys with this universe of like ninjas and but
Yeah, that
that's
would
where my
work.
head goes. But then it still has that sort of full of moments that sort of don't necessarily fit together and don't necessarily make a ton of sense. In terms of Sho Kosugi as a character who's on the police force and is trying to help him out once he sort of realizes he's in trouble and his son's in trouble. And, they
Yeah,
go to,
his 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 buddy on the police force. I'm sorry, the detectives working the case
yes.
on these murders that are occurring. We failed to mention that there's also this organized crime family that
Oh
is
shit,
basically
yeah.
they're controlling the heroin trade, and so Kasugi's well, who we thought it was his friend, that's this art dealer that's smuggling the heroin, is trying to basically he's basically trying to come in on their turf and ask for a cut, and they're not open to any of that. So he starts picking off members of his family one by one. Anyways, the detectives working on the case after like three of the family members of this family have been killed go to this guy who's ends up becoming friends with Kosugi, and he's a martial arts guy as well. His last name is Vitali. I think he's a competitive uh, karate guy. But they bring him these X-rays, like because he's the expert. He's the only one. These are homicide detectives, and like we gotta. How could somebody do this to someone else? Who could do it? It must be karate. And then so they go to a karate expert to break down to find out like who it must be some trained martial arts expert.
No human could
So
break bones like
no
this.
no human could possibly do that with just any kind of implementation or
It's sort
anything
of
like that.
the kind of the equivalent of like the modern day Mortal Kombat fatalities where they sort of cut away to an X-ray to just show the bone break.
Oh yeah, I think didn't they do that? I think they do that on Ricky O, right?
Oh yeah, they do.
There's a
Yes.
yeah. We also failed to we don't want to forget about the blonde that
Oh yeah.
is kind of the
The dame of the film.
the dame of the film, the mole or whatever, and she's training with Kasugi, and it appears like they're dating, but she's really with the other dude too.
Yeah.
So,
You
and
sort of
then
find out she's a shady character and plays both sides, I would imagine.
yeah,
But yeah, his buddy and the police and him end up trying to go question some thugs to see if they know anything, and it really makes zero sense. They look like the village people, and they just proceed to beat the ever living shit out of them in front of a whole crowd in a children's playground.
yeah,
And it's amazing.
playground.
It's
Well,
amazing.
and before that, there's the great chase scene where they employ one of the most offensive Native American stereotypes I've ever seen in my life.
Complete with scalping jokes, by the
Yeah,
way.
complete with a scalp. Yeah, and if he gives you any trouble, scalp him. Is the what the capo or the don of that family tells him.
The
Yeah,
only thing missing was what are now inappropriate Bugs Bunny jokes.
right. Yeah. So that's the level that we were working on at that moment. But
But to
that
your
yeah
point, like it's action set piece after action set piece.
yeah
Very little downtime in that movie.
yeah, and it's all quality. It's
And
very
and in
well done.
between them, you get these sort of horror almost elements. The villain in his sort of chrome mask, uh, brutally killing people to the point where we were talking earlier about the amount of fake skin and low level prosthetics used in this. Anyone that was hit with a Chinese star, throwing star, or an arrow or a blow dart, immediately
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wound would
gore.
swell up and ooze
Yeah.
and turn purple within seconds.
Also, second only to ninjas as being extremely popular in the 80s. Can we talk about hot tubs in this movie? there,
We can.
there are there are three major moments that occur centered around hot tubs. The death of the nephew of the Dawn of the crime family,
Right.
which was pretty awesome death scene, uh, and also the hot tub torture of the blonde, and then the final fight. A hot tub is utilized on the rooftop for the
Oh
steel
yeah.
faced guy is hiding in it. It's like I don't know.
Inexplicably using
Hot
doubles
tubs.
and dolls of
Right,
himself.
yeah, he just happened to have one up his
Yeah.
sleeve, like
This one really kind of hammered home the ninja logic in that if anyone is ever hit in the face or eye with a throwing star, they die.
just fucking
You don't
die,
just live the
man.
rest of your life with an eye patch and, like a horrible story. You die every time. So if you
Right.
get hit with a throwing star anywhere near the face, it's an immediate death. Ninja rules.
Well, however, they do change that rule with Kasugi's character in the third movie.
That's true. That is
Yeah,
true.
but yeah, in this world, in this movie, yeah, you're
Instant
gonna.
death.
In fact, your eye is gonna like pop out of your head if you're that guy, that
The
informant.
homeless informant.
Yeah, who got $20. He got a 20 spot for his troubles, by the way. They just
Why he's
peeled
still
off
homeless.
right. It's just like, come on, man.
But yeah, he
Uh,
gets hit with a throwing star in the eye, and they have this great scene of kind of pulling him out of a water fountain he falls into, and his eyes falling out of his socket, and it's so
it's
over the top.
amazing.
It's perfect. You know, comes to a head with Sho Kosugi fighting, his former thought to be friend, who's apparently also a very well trained ninja and knows all the tricks.
Lived in Japan for over 20 years,
Yeah,
is I believe was what that's his history.
and
So
again, it sort of like plays into that. It's like Batman and his utility belt. It's it's that ninja charm with just like all
dude,
the toys, the
everything,
tricks. They threw everything at this one.
everything. It was awesome. And especially when you think that he had the upper hand, it was just like, oh no, dude, I got a freaking flamethrower. I'm gonna shoot flames out of my hand.
It's borderline anime at that point. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's grappling hooks to shoot across and like walk across the buildings. There's all kinds of like disappearances, and like we were talking about earlier, the villains using like body
Dummies.
doubles that that are part of the fight. Like and the final fight goes on for the third act for quite a while, and it's
Yeah,
actually really satisfying. Like it just
it
keeps
is.
going.
It's really good, man. It's a really good final fight. Yeah, it's really well done. I would say the best out of the three.
Yeah, for
I would say
sure.
quality wise, uh, and just the momentum of the it was real propulsive momentum. Doesn't really slow down for anything,
And pretty decent
and
stunt work and some good, kind of
totally.
like car wrecks and stuff and like the deaths and everything. Like it was again, and there's scenes too where I'm kind of like, the framing of stuff, especially in that scene that they shot for the beginning and stuff, where the composition and the framing is all like that's why I was just sort of kind of noticing throughout all of them a lot of these canon and some of there's a lot of straight to video stuff back from that era that you know they put care into it, like they were trying to make it look good. And I think now, especially, not to kind of derail, but with green screen and whatnot, um, it's so phoned in. Like nobody really
Oh yeah,
tries. And these were like B movies that, if you were lucky, made it to a theater, uh, near you, that is. And they they were trying to make a movie, man.
yeah. These weren't. Yeah, like you were saying earlier about Enter the Ninja, they're not. They were kind of uh, a continuation, distribution wise, of how movies were just distributed, like in the whole Grindhouse era,
Yeah.
where they weren't wide release. They ended up in maybe some. They, they're probably out in, Times Square, Los Angeles, and then maybe a few flyover states. They might not even make it out to the coasts. They might end up, just playing in uh, some small town, on the in the small town suburb or something like that. Or and this was when VHS was in its infancy and VCRs. So the direct to video market hadn't really started to come about till it would be about another 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. And even
So
video discs were not anything new, like new releases. They were usually just established classics and old stuff.
yeah.
So I think with
So
that is when we hear the record scratch, we jump into the final of the three films, Ninja 3: The Domination.
yes, Ninja 3, The Domination. Where are they gonna go next in this trilogy? Well,
A lot of places.
they go to a lot of places. They crib from a lot of different genres, and it's my favorite of the three.
It
Maybe
is
not the
mine too.
best, maybe not the best of the three, but it's my favorite.
It's
And
so
also,
fucking weird that I can't help
and
but love it.
I'm sporting
Oh
the
yeah.
Ninja 3, the Domination shirt, courtesy of Asian Shock. Uh, and it's kind of a masterpiece.
You know what?
It's
You
it's pretty
you don't
awesome.
you're never gonna forget it.
Nope.
And it's just got so much weirdness shoved into it. I would pay good money to hear the elevator pitch on that one.
Oh, that and there's nothing quite like it out there. Yeah, yeah. The elevator pitch was definitely uh, dropping a lot of names of different movies. We're gonna we're gonna take Flashdance. We're gonna take The Exorcist. We're gonna take Poltergeist. We're
Yep.
gonna take uh, and I'm. It came out in October of '84, which means it was released a few months after Ghostbusters. But I'm sure they went back and reshot uh, a couple of scenes after they saw Ghostbusters. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, I think you might be on just because it was a little uncanny when I was seeing it and thinking there's something here that is definitely reminiscent of that. So, but we're going with a female protagonist this time, which is, honestly, looking back at that, it's a little unusual of a choice.
Oh, big time for that time. Yeah, completely.
Like
For an action movie, especially.
I mean, we still had, Cynthia Rothrock was huge back then. There was plenty of kind of action female protagonists, but I don't know her background, but she kind of just came out of nowhere. I don't know what else she's done either.
She was in Lucinda Dickey. She was another she was in Cannon's Bullpen as far as actors, but she was in I think she was in both the Breakin' movies or one of the Breakin' movies
Okay,
as a dancer or one of the main characters. And she had a background I think she had a background in gymnastics, maybe.
that would make
Uh,
sense.
and she was either a dancer or classically trained dancer or was in gymnastics. I don't know, but I mean, you can tell she's athletic, even though, it the one thing it has against it, as so many other action movies from the era, that if you're going to shoot a stunt person that's especially a stunt person that's not even the same gender as the protagonist, try not to do it in slow motion.
Yeah, and
It's
not quite
just
not quite as close. Uh,
right, right. But but apart from that, yeah. So not Lucinda Jenny, that's another actress. Lucinda Dickey is a telephone line woman,
of course,
and she also moonlights as an aerobics instructor who stumbles across a wounded ninja who's just finished an assassination on. I didn't know who it was, but apparently a VIP. But later on in the movie, you find out the only thing you know about this guy is like, oh, he was a very important scientist. he,
and it
he's he was a very important scientist killed by a ninja
And
on a golf
again,
course in Arizona.
following their formula, we open up on some, catastrophe, and the bodies hit the floor. And on this,
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
he just kills like 30 people in a golf course, and then the
Then more
golf
cops.
security shows up.
Yeah.
But it's often shared online just in terms of its bizarre nature. You probably see on YouTube like the ninja cart golf course scene. It's batshit insane.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before. I'd never seen the that clip at all. Yeah,
Oh,
but it's on there. Yeah,
I envy you
it's
going in blind on that.
yeah, and it's not even the craziest thing in the movie
No,
by any stretch, but
no.
it's a great opening, man. And so
That's when you
yeah,
get to the telephone line technician who moonlights as a robot
yeah,
instructor
right. Yeah, I was jumping the gun. I'm sorry. Yeah, it
who
does not open on her. Yeah.
who then happens upon a wounded ninja who then
Right.
transfers his soul into a sword to give to her, because that seems like that would happen.
Right. Yeah, who appears like well in the beginning it's just like he was gonna sexually assault her, and then
Yeah,
but I think he was testing her, and what's so funny is how their costumes mirror each other, her uniform, and
yeah,
along with the spikes that she has to wear to scale that utility pole, and then yeah, she stumbles across the wounded ninja, and as you said, he transfers his soul into her, and then thus begins the domination of the
exactly.
title.
And
So
as you can imagine, at that point it goes supernatural wheels off, and
yeah,
it she keeps the sword even though the cops are looking for evidence to this, because the ninja, we forgot
right.
to mention, kills like 50 police. And
Yeah,
he's as he's finally killed after a really cool action scene of him using all his tricks of the trade
right.
to kind of get back at the cops. And she's ended up, because she's in possession of the sword, she's haunted by the memories of the particular cops that murdered him, and
Right.
it sort of sets her off on, possesses her, so to speak, starts as an oppression and then turns into a full-blown possession of her, going off and trying to kill the cops that killed him, which is a pretty cool story, actually.
And adding to that, another wrench in her story is so her first exhibition of her newfound abilities is fighting these thugs that are harassing this woman. Not really harassing her. They're
Full
basically about to
blown,
they're going to
full
sexually assault
blown,
her in front of everyone.
who seem
It's a
men seem utterly
nonplussed,
calm about it.
right? And so she whips these guys' asses, and then she is arrested by a cop who was involved in the takedown of that ninja, and so they develop a romance, and
Reluctantly, but it eventually gets
well,
there.
it blossoms, yeah, and then uh, their first night together is the first time that she has her beckoning by the sword in the closet, and there are a couple of great moments
Killer
of
lighting, like a lot of
yeah,
fog and like really, really
lasers.
saturated colored lights, that,
Yeah,
it
this
really
is the
cool.
best shot. This is the best shot of all three of them too, I think.
Oh yeah.
Like the cinematography in it's the best of the three.
And
Yeah.
like I was saying earlier about the golf cart scene, I think this one shared a lot because of the V8 sex scene that, everybody kind of shares, just because it is one of the weirdest, what's known as the weirdest product placement in cinema history, which I kind of have to agree with.
I'd never known about that scene either, though, until I saw this. I'd never seen that.
I didn't either, but then,
I didn't know it was a
having
thing.
gone to the internet after the fact, I realized I'm really late to the party on that one.
Yeah, yeah. The V8 being poured down as an aphrodisiac. I guess if you work out a lot, maybe, and that's probably all she had.
Yeah,
She's
no
really health
booze in the
conscious.
house. She's in aerobics. I get it.
Yeah, she's really health conscious. Just like that's yeah. That was surprising. I was not expecting that. But yeah, so yeah,
It keeps the pacing, and like there's, we get a peppering of her possessed moments. She sort of goes off the wheels in her ninja costume, and then kills some of the cops that are responsible. So she's when she's sort of in her possessed mode, and you kind of you bounce back and forth between those scenes and then her sort of normal life with her boyfriend kind of.
Showing up with bruises
Yeah.
and ablations,
And she blacks out.
abrasions,
She
and
doesn't remember any of
yeah,
it.
she doesn't
So,
remember. She's like, how to get this shiner? What's going on? Like, yeah, it's
but then
yeah,
they ramp up the supernatural in terms of the possession of it, and end up kind of going to see an exorcist to try and get this ninja out of her.
played by the great James Hong. Yes,
I think he's in every single movie made.
quite possibly. At least the good one. At least the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a really that. Not gonna lie, man. For somebody who doesn't have a lot of acting credits, and to be completely cribbing off of Linda Blair and essentially ripping off The Exorcist, it's a good scene.
It is. It
It's very well
works.
done, and she commits 1,000% to it, and it's an admirable feat, man. It's one of the better scenes in the entire in the entire
There's a
movie. The
few of
way it's
those
shot, yeah,
that I'm like, those are like go, going in the hard drive. Like they're really memorable scenes like that.
yeah. And the sound design in it, it's really good. They're overlapping these screams that are. I think it's probably her and then the ninja spirit
Oh yeah.
layered on top of it in the audio, and it's pretty unsettling, man. And it's effective. It's really well done.
It's got a great soundtrack, honestly. Like there's a lot of good synth stuff in it,
Oh
and
yeah, just not the songs.
just not the songs. No,
They were clearly they were
not the
clearly
songs.
they were thinking they were gonna have like a Flashdance type of soundtrack
Anything with
hit.
vocals that appears in the movie, no.
Yeah,
But
the if
score.
if you listen to, yeah, the score is really good. If you listen to that song that they're playing in the gym introducing
Oh,
or it's called Body Shop, and if you pay attention to the lyrics, you may lose your mind. It's 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 the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. That somebody were like, okay, that'll do. Well, let's put that in the movie.
yeah.
Let's
Let's
use
go
that
with
one.
that.
But
And you
yeah,
don't get to
they were
see Sho Kosugi for much till towards
yeah
the end on this one.
yeah he comes in kind of like Brando at the end of Apocalypse Now, but not maybe not that sparingly. But yeah, so Kosugi shows up as he's tracking down this ninja assassin, and they have a history together.
Yeah.
So and it's not a good one. But again, as the cardinal rule of all three of these movies, only a ninja can destroy a ninja, and that's why he's there. So
And having him with the final battle, because they essentially sort of move the
it's awesome.
soul back into the dead ninja and he comes back to life or something.
So he becomes a zombie ninja.
Yeah, which is amazing. And then Sho Kosugi fights him, and so then you have an added layer of supernatural abilities. It's it's insane.
Yeah, the final fight in this one, I think I mentioned that the final fight in Revenge is my favorite. I think this one is even better.
Yeah.
I think the way it's shot, just the abilities that the ninja, the undead ninja has. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna ruin it.
No, it's
So
like one of the few
there are a couple
moments
of
in the whole
surprises in
trilogy
it.
where I'm like, "Wha-
Oh yeah,
just go watch it. Just go
just go
watch
watch it. Yeah,
it."
yeah.
Yeah.
It's this is yeah. It's worth checking out. Well, I mean, all of them are worth watching, but this one is definitely the best one.
And again, in terms of the ambition, like they really tried to get large scale with it, like earth rumbling, sort of big
Yeah,
with the fight, and it works. And there's no money on the screen doing it. It's just
no, we're gonna shake a camera. We might push a fake boulder in the background.
they just knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and it's effective. It works, and there's some man that the the sequence before that, where they're in the temple
Yeah.
fight scene
Oh yeah.
is really well done. They're using the lighting in it's great. The camera, the shot compositions. They're using some Dutch angles. Man, the editing is top notch. Probably that might actually be like one of the best fight scenes as far as like that one of the most effective fight scenes in the entire trilogy. I mean,
Yeah.
to I would put that up against some of the I mean, some modern fight choreography. Um, Maybe not at the level of like a John Wick movie or anything like that, but it was ahead of its time, and it's you can tell if you're gonna do a timeline of good fight scenes, I would have to add that the temple fight and Ninja 3, the domination to
Oh
that.
yeah.
I mean, the choreography is really good and it's really well shot.
Plus, it's a badass title.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing the back of that box in video stores, just being like,
Yeah, same.
what is this? And I mean, I can even tell you that I think the stills that they had was again, a hot tub murder occurs in this one too.
Right.
I mean, I guess John Ford had Monument Valley. Sam Furstenberg has hot tubs in his movies. So, but it's like, yeah, the back of the box had a still from the cop who's got the two chicks in the hot tub with him, and
Oh yeah.
again, I think she gets him with a ring. Yeah, she's got
Yeah.
like a
Poison.
poison on the ring and turns it around. Pretty dope kill. Again, fast acting substance that caused like a gnarly wound on him,
Oh my God. Yeah.
and yeah, but
And
that was
it's
good.
not a terribly like violent, gory flick. Like it almost to me is a modern PG-13. Like I was telling you the other
Yeah,
day, like it felt kind of like they knew little boys were going to want to watch this, so it's just titillating enough and no nudity, and you get all the violence, but it's definitely ratcheted down from Revenge.
yeah. And she straight murks those two chicks in the hot
Oh
tub
yeah.
too, man. She doesn't give a damn, dude. She's like, whoa. I just felt like they kind of had a missed opportunity when they were panning up from her. She's wearing a black one
Oh yeah.
piece bikini, and she could have had a ninja mask. But I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you
That would
spot
have been
on.
that would have been ridiculous. But yeah, no, that
You're
was
right. That's too much for Ninja 3 to
that's too
domination.
much
You're
for
right.
Ninja 3 the domination. Then
We need
I
to,
mean, it's a little, it's definitely the most restrained of the three.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's quite a movie, man. There's nothing else like it out there, man. And
No, no.
I always heard of I guess the cult reputation of it,
Yeah.
and again, it's got some moments in it like any other movie from that period and from that studio. That's a little tongue in cheek, maybe a little campy, but like I said, I feel like it's a legitimately good movie.
I
And
agree.
of the three, after watching it again today, after watching all three of them again today, just to kind of refresh myself, I would watch that one. I would keep that in rotation.
Hell yeah.
Honest to God, I mean,
Yeah.
if it were on TV and I sat down in the middle of it, I would finish it.
I think that's our takeaway of our ramblings on the Ninja Trilogy is a somewhat unpopular opinion that Domination is the best of the three,
Right.
and Revenge is amazing. They're all great in their own right. Obviously, the first one being the oldest and aged the most, and doesn't quite really understand what it wants to do or what it's doing, and they get their footing in the second one, go full force, and then the third, they just go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. The second one is just as far as a straight ahead, solid, well made martial arts action movie. It's I guess I guess you could say it's the best of the three.
Yeah.
The third one, but the third one comes out from just with some of the craziest concepts you can come up with. That it shouldn't. it should never have been made.
Yeah, it's completely unique. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's a complete like little mini miracle that it ever
Yeah.
got made. And as what and executed as well as it was, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. That's yeah, domination is the shit, man.
So yeah, thanks for watching. This
Yeah,
is our first one.